So it's going to be a corner lot.
It's a corner lot.
Yeah, it's going to be a corner lot right here. And pretty much the other houses will start going this way.
The last time we spoke with Wanda Welch and her sons, Nathan and Jay Sean, they were at their lot in Pine Hills, where their new Habitat for Humanity home will be built. It was a huge pile of dirt.
Where's the front of your house? Show me where the front
The front of the house will be right here.
But somehow we could see the finished product.
The front will be over here. The garage will be to the right of the door. And then the master bedroom. And then the boys' room will be in the back of the house. And then, of course, the backyard is right there.
So this mound is part of the kitchen?
Yes, I see it. You see it?
I see it. I see it.
Just being out there, it just made everything feel real. Like, this is really happening. This is my lot. This is my land. This is where our home is. I don't want to say mine because it's ours.
It will be theirs next spring. Construction should be done in March. Then typically it takes about 2 months to close. Wanda used to rent a townhouse, but in 2017, the property owner was foreclosed on, leaving Wanda and her boys searching all over for a place of their own. This Orange County school teacher couldn't find anything she could afford.
Orange County rent is pretty expensive. And when I say expensive, $1,800, $1,900, $2,000, $1,300 one-bedroom apartments. But I'm blessed to have a family.
Right now, the three live with Wanda's mother in her 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Wanda's 2 uncles also live there.
Oh, yeah.
One of the reasons we're in this housing mess,
You need your stuff for school?
there just aren't enough places to live at any price point. When it comes to affordable housing for middle and low-income families, the numbers are bleak. Just in Central Florida, in order to house all the people and families who need a place to live, we'd need more than 108,000 homes. That figure is called rental unit deficit. And in all of Central Florida, Orange County has it worst.
We've seen unprecedented population growth.
Absolutely.
And it's projected to increase, I think just in Orange County alone, by 46% by 2040.
Chip Tatum is CEO of the Apartment Association of Greater Orlando. It's like the Chamber of Commerce for the apartment industry.
That's a massive amount of new people, and we're not developing nearly enough to keep up with that demand.
The average family cannot afford.
Tatum also sits on the Orange County Housing for All Task Force. Mayor Demings convened the group and tasked them with developing real, actionable solutions to the housing crisis. Chip Tatum sits on the Design and Infrastructure Subcommittee. Their focus is on policy and land development code changes. Their task, spurring housing for all types of development in Orange County.
There's a huge emphasis on not just creating more affordable housing, but creating more housing in general, which we would agree with is the right strategy.
Our local housing needs.
The task force work isn't done yet, but Tatum shared with us some of the changes they're exploring to increase the quantity of places to live. Things like flexibility in building requirements that would allow for smaller apartments.
Around 400 square feet is kind of the minimum. Well, there's other markets in the country that have 200 square feet or somewhere in that neighborhood, and that's where you start to see some of these more efficiencies, community living, and providing some opportunities to put more units in a smaller area and kind of create some naturally occurring affordable housing there.
Another idea to create density
is providing homeowners the opportunity and more flexibility with creating accessory dwelling units. So think that apartment above the garage or the granny flat and things like that.
And yet another idea is borrowing from a concept being used in California.
It's taking some of these, people might call McMansions or things like that, and converting those into like small scale apartment community studio type rooms as well, and creating more naturally occurring affordable housing that way. So, and that's something other markets are doing and seeing some success with.
We asked Tatum about other communities also struggling with affordable housing. We wanted to know who the task force was looking to for examples of success stories.
I think that Charlotte has a pretty strong program. They've been looking a lot at that. And their program surrounds creating a pool for affordable housing of money that's administered through the city of Charlotte, but funded through bonds. And so like Bank of America, I believe, is a huge contributor to that, but it's a private sector, public sector solution. It's something that they're working on together. And they've been able to bring quite a few units out of the ground with that.
Tatum shared with us a housing affordability toolkit by his organization and the Florida Apartment Association. It outlines the cause of Florida's housing affordability problem and some solutions.
Our development community responded pretty commandingly that if there was some flexibility with impact fees in exchange for obviously a set aside of a certain amount of affordable housing, however that may look, I think there's some real possibilities on that front.
Impact fees are what local government charges a developer to pay for some of the public services and infrastructure the new development will have access to, things like roads and parks, police and fire. The school district gets a portion too. Developers argue if impact fees weren't so high, they could build more affordably.
The other side is property taxes, and obviously the county is somewhat limited in what they can do on that front.
As for carving out more affordable units in all those market rate apartment complexes being built right now,
I think that asking an owner, especially if the project's already in the pipeline, to convert to affordable is almost an impossible undertaking, because at that point they've already got their financing lined up, they've already got all the permitting and process, and just the infrastructure behind trying to change that would be, I think, almost logistically infeasible.
35% of Floridians rent their homes, and the number is only expected to rise. In order to keep up with the demand, Florida is going to need to add 669,391 rental units by 2030. That's roughly 47,814 each year. But in Orange County, including the city of Orlando, less than 1,200 affordable rentals are being added this year, a far cry from enough for now or the future.
Direct your attention to your packets.
That's why the Housing Task Force recommendations are so anxiously awaited.
Which is encouraging the development.
Tatum says whatever shakes out from their work, it will be actionable.
I think we'll see a number of things. I think one of the biggest, honestly, is going to be the county doing some internal reflection of its building codes and relaxing some of the more rigid requirements that don't have an impact on life safety or anything like that, but are just kind of old school mentality for building design. And so to make it a lot easier, especially for elected officials, to navigate the process of development and make sure that these projects come to fruition more quickly.
Fruits of labor are starting to be seen on that plot of land Wanda Welch has been waiting on. Crews began construction of her Habitat house in early September. On the journey, Wanda's sons have watched her work and sacrifice for this dream.
I know she's been doing sweat equity for these past few months on Saturdays. She's been basically working on other people's house. I think that's pretty great and a good way to help the community that we're going to be living by.
She can't wait until the day she finally gets the keys to her new home.
It's going to be so many different emotions because I have been trying to own my own home for so many years. So it's going to be so many different emotions, and to stop paying somebody else's mortgage but to pay my own mortgage. Oh my God. I'm gonna shout, I'm gonna pray, I'm gonna praise God, I am gonna cry, I can't sing, but I'm gonna sing. It is gonna be an amazing day.